Feeding Relationships, FID Assignment. Complete each slide by following the directions on the slide. You may use your notebook, page 66, to help. A copy is on this slide of page 66. Watch the video below and then answer the questions on the next slides. If the video does not work, copy and paste the URL into a new Google window or click the following link. Type your answers by deleting the blanks or by typing at the end of the question. The time in the parentheses tells you where you can find the answers if you do not remember the answers from watching. Number 1. Without the blank, there would be no life on Earth. Number 2. The food chain begins with the blank. Number 3. What is the second link in the food chain? Number 4. What is the third link in the food chain? And number 5. What is the fourth link in the food chain? Number 6. What is another name for a top predator? And number 7. How much energy is actually passed on to the next level? Watch the video below and then answer the questions on the next slides. If the video does not work, copy and paste the URL into a new Google window or click the following link. Type your answers by deleting the blanks or by typing at the end of the question. The time in the parentheses tells you where you can find the answers if you do not remember the answers from watching. Number 1. A blank is made of many different intersecting food chains. Number 2. In an ecosystem, all blank and blank rely on each other for survival. Number 3. What do you think would happen if one organism would be removed from a food web? Type your answer. What is the difference between a food chain and a food web? Highlight the word below that fits what the picture and description is. Your choices are decomposer, scavengers, omnivore, consumer, carnivore, herbivore, producer. So you have the picture, and underneath the picture it says, an organism that makes its own food, also called an autotroph, for example, a bean plant. For this one, underneath the picture it says, an organism that relies on other organisms for energy and nutrients, for example, caterpillars. Under the picture, an organism that obtains its energy by only eating plants, for example, a zebra. Under the picture, an organism whose diet includes both plants and animals, for example, a hyena. Under the picture, an organism that eats only other animals to obtain its food, for example, a lion. Under the picture, an organism that feeds by chemically breaking down organic matter, which is dead plants and animals, for example, mushrooms. And an organism that consumes the carcasses of other animals that have died by some other cause, for example, a vulture. Move the trophic levels on the right to the correct place on the energy pyramid. You've got primary consumer, tertiary consumer, producers, and secondary consumer. So where do these 4 boxes belong in the correct order over here? Match the definitions to the terms by typing the letter of the term on the line in front of the definition it matches. A is a primary consumer, B is producer, C tertiary consumer, and D secondary consumer. Number 1, an organism that is able to produce its own food through photosynthesis. It takes in carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight and produces glucose and oxygen. Number 2, a first-level consumer. It eats producers, and they are herbivores. Number 3, a second-level consumer. It eats the primary consumers, and they are carnivores and omnivores. And number 4, a third-level consumer. They eat secondary consumers, and they are carnivores and omnivores. Use the food web below to answer the question. The question is, what is one secondary consumer from that food web? What is one producer? What is one tertiary consumer? What is one primary consumer? Which organism is a generalist? Move the red circle over the blue arrow that shows the correct flow of energy. So would this one show the correct flow, or would this one show the correct flow? Move the red circle over the blue arrow that shows the correct flow of energy. Look over the following terms/concepts. What do you still have questions on or don't understand? Highlight them. If you have nothing highlighted, I will assume you feel as though you would be ready for a quiz on this information on Monday. There will not be a quiz on Monday. The terms and concepts are going across: producer, consumer, herbivore, omnivore. Next row, carnivore, autotroph, heterotroph, primary consumer. Third row, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, decomposer. Fourth row, flow of energy, only 10% of energy gets passed on. Fifth row, trophic levels, energy pyramid, prey, predator. And the last row, food chain, food web, generalist.